Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Yay for Business podcast. In this episode, we're going to talk about the 3 core stages of business, why it's important to understand each of these 3 stages of business, and how to figure out which stage you're in. So let's go ahead and dive right in. Side note, I hope you guys are enjoying, and I know it's kind of ironic that I'm adding this in here right now, that I'm not adding a lot of fluff into the beginning of these podcast episodes because honestly, my biggest pet peeve, again, ironic given what I'm doing right now, is when I turn on a podcast episode that's like 30 minutes and the first 10 minutes, they're just talking about what they did last weekend or doing ads or promoting their programs. And I just want to get right to it. So I'm really not, I'm not like trying to transition slowly. I want to make sure that you know that you're going to listen to these episodes and you're going to get exactly what I'm telling you you're going to get when you look at the episode name. So that said, let's talk about the 3 stages of business. This is a philosophy I developed a while ago, and I actually used to call it the 4 stages of business. I have since revised it because I thought there was a stage that needed to be there that wasn't, and I can chat about that in a little bit. It's not really that important. What's important is that you understand what the 3 stages of business are for any online business owner or solopreneur. It's really going to tell you what you need to be focused on right now in terms of what offers are going to help you to make the income you need to make to get to the next level. The next few episodes, including this one and then the 3 after this, are all going to be about these stages. In this episode, I'm going to give an overview of the 3 stages so you understand how they all fit together and the consequences of not going through the 3 stages in order. And what I want you to know is that I have a quiz on my website at courtneychaal.com. In the navigation bar, there's a link to take our quiz, and that quiz is going to tell you what service-based superhero you are, and the results are exactly the stages of business I'm going to talk about today. So my call to action for you in this episode is to go over there and take that quiz, because once you take the quiz, it's totally fun, super easy. You're going to get a results page where we're going to give you some content and recommendations and really tell you what you need to do at that stage of business. So it's going to be a great supplementary resource for you. The other thing is, once you take the quiz, I want you to go on Instagram and share your results with me. You can share it in a story. You could do a little screenshot of this episode and then add some text. Let me know what your results were from our service-based superhero Are You quiz, and we can chat in the DMs. You can send me a DM, whatever. But I want to know. I want to hear from you guys. So let's go ahead, talk about this philosophy and why it's important that you know what stage of business you're at right now. So online business owners are often super overwhelmed by the sheer number and variety of different offers you could create, right? It's like you could offer, a one-on-one service. You could offer a long-term service, a short-term service, a quick service. You could do a membership site, a course, a group service, whatever. And it often can sound like you need to do all of them. Everyone's kind of selling you on like the thing that they're creating. These days, people have these like SLO offers, the self-liquidating offers. I'm sure you've seen these in Facebook ads where there's an ad for a product that's like, it's like a massive course, but it only costs like $27 or something. This is a whole strategy people are using. So everyone thinks they see the next newest, hottest thing and they're like, oh, that's what I need to do. And what I want you to know is that exact reaction of like that FOMO of like, oh, that's what I need to do. That's what everyone's doing. I want you to pause. Let's take a deep breath and just ignore it all. Okay? Reacting to all the different stuff you could be doing is exactly what's going to keep you spinning your wheels. And I know it feels like there's this smorgasbord of different offers you could create, but actually isn't just a matter of like, do whatever you feel like, or do the kind of offer that sounds fun to you. It's a little bit more specific than that in terms of what you need to do to make a full-time income from your business, to grow your business, to get to that next level. The other thing is that a lot of people trying to sell you on creating a course or a membership site or things like that they're showing you this really sexy side of having these courses and these membership sites. And I'm not saying they're bad. I have a course. I've had one for 4 years. Yay for clients. I don't do membership sites. Not really my thing, but I understand the benefits. The problem is so many of you think that a course is the best thing for you to be creating because it's what all the people you see online are doing and making all their money. And unfortunately, I have seen so many entrepreneurs suffer because they try to launch courses too early. Now, I know it can seem like common sense that, you want to create the offer that you could sell the most of, and it's cheaper and it's more affordable and it will give you freedom and all of that. And I want to give this little warning here, which is that common sense doesn't work in business. Common sense often has us thinking things like, more people will buy my offer if I charge less for it. No, not necessarily. Oftentimes more expensive offers are way easier to sell. Let me tell you, it is so much easier for us to sell Yay for 100K than Yay for clients. It is always so much easier to book a client for a one-on-one service than to sell them a program that's like 1/10 of the price. You might be thinking things like, I see a lot of people creating these tiny offers and they're like no-brainers, so that's what I should do too. And what I want you to know as well, some people are having a lot of success with those offers. And again, I'm not an expert at these tiny offers that people are doing. And if you don't even know what I'm talking about, it's okay. Don't worry about it. You're not like missing out on anything major. A lot of people are creating tiny offers because they're afraid that they can't get people to buy from them at a higher price. So it's very much like a fear-based mechanism. The other thing is that they're not making the bulk of their revenue off of these tiny offers. That's how they're generating leads. And then they're selling people very strategically into higher priced offers, services, programs, etc. So you don't know what you can't see. You might have this belief that your audience is going to get bored if you keep offering the same thing. And so you need to keep creating new stuff to keep people excited. This is one I hear all the time. Again, common sense. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. I've heard that so many times from my clients before they start working with me. I don't want to focus on offering one thing because I don't want to put all my eggs in one basket. And the truth is that they just keep creating all these random things that they're not actually going all in on. And so they're not booking those things. And then they're like, well, of course I can't pick one thing because I can't even sell it right now. So I can't go all in on it. And the reason they're not selling it is because they're not going all in on it. So again, it's a confusing catch-22 that people get caught up in. Or people think if I focus on one thing, I'm going to get bored. And the truth is that you're going to get burnt out by constantly reacting and creating new things. Trust me, I know this from experience. I am the epitome of the multi-passionate entrepreneur, the short attention span, the person who is constantly coming up with new ideas. I am a level 10 visionary. Okay. So I get the desire to want to change things up. What I want you to trust me on, if you can, just a little bit, is that it is by constantly creating new things that you're going to get yourself trapped into this endless cycle of never having freedom. And that when you have one thing that's selling and selling really well, it frees up so much of your mental capacity to then explore other things that you want to do because you don't have to keep reacting in order to make money. So you can remove that stress from your offer. So I just want to kind of have you consider that offering one thing maybe is going to give you more freedom than offering a bunch of different things. Now, these beliefs I just mentioned can lead people to make one of a few different mistakes. Okay, so we're going to talk about 3 specific mistakes that I see people making all the time. The first mistake is launching digital products too soon. I've already mentioned this, launching courses, programs, products, whatever. Everyone wants to launch a digital program. They're the sexy thing. It's easy to convince people to do it, very hard to help them be successful at it. Mistake number 2 is creating too many offers. Again, I've touched on this. So you just keep creating different things. I totally did this. I had a whole slew of I think I had 10 different sort of smaller digital products. I was offering an array of different services. This is a recipe for disaster because it is so hard to manage and on the back end, offering these items and delivering them. But also it's all the sales pages, all the the e-commerce stuff that you have to set up. And then all the marketing and customer service you have to do for all these different products. It is so overwhelming. I just don't think enough people are talking about how much work it is to offer more offers than to offer one core offer. And then that brings me to mistake number 3, which is not focusing on getting known for one thing. That's what I want you to do. So let's dig into these mistakes a little bit more. This is going to really illustrate why the 3 stages of business is so important, is because it's going to help you not make these mistakes. So mistake number 1, launching digital products too soon. I totally did this because I fell in love with the idea of having an online course-based business. And because of that, I sort of was like, you know, when you're in love, it's like nothing can go wrong and like you can't see any faults in your partner. And that's kind of how I felt about online courses until I got disillusioned. The honeymoon period ended. So long story short, I ended up launching a course. It's not that it didn't sell. I sold the course. It's that I ended up being in this situation where I didn't make enough money from the launch to like not offer services anymore. And yet I wasn't prepared for that. So I ended up in this like situation where I would like offer services and then launch my course and then go back to services and go back to the course, but not doing it intentionally. And it was so exhausting and draining and so much work. I also, like I said, created a bunch of smaller offers under $100, thinking that it'd be easier to sell those and make money because it's easier to sell things that are cheaper. Hint, it is not easier to make money. You have to sell so many more of a small product to make the same amount of money. And the type of customer you get for those cheap things are usually the most difficult customers, or people who never actually use the product. They never actually get results because they didn't have that psychological skin in the game. There wasn't that element of like, okay, I'm taking this seriously. I really need to do this. So they just kind of were like, oh yeah, I'll buy that thing. And then they never touch it. So this really stalls your business as well. And unfortunately, I had to learn this the hard way. I refused to listen to the advice to stick to one thing. So I kept launching these digital products. And what I learned over time is that in order to be successful with a digital offer, you need to have a few things in place. Number 1, you need to have, I'm going to say, at least about 500 people in your audience. And I would really specifically say your email list, because those are the people who are really in it with you. There's a lot of people who might follow you on social media, but they don't actually ever see anything of yours. So we want to see that you have about 500 people in your audience. So that's a huge milestone that a lot of people need to work towards. The second thing is you need to have a proven track record of getting results for clients. You cannot come out of the gate with a business launching a course. A, you don't have an audience, so who the heck is going to buy the course? And B, when people are enrolling in a course, they're expecting that course creator to be an expert at what they do, meaning they have experience getting people results. It is so much harder to get people results in a course than with a one-on-one service. And so you have to make sure that you have honed in your process, your framework, your expertise in order to then start teaching it to other people. They're going to want to see testimonials. They're going to want to see the results that you've been getting. The third thing you need to have in place is you need to be known for one thing. So if you are trying to launch a course talking about, I'm going to think of like some random topic, talking about how to write a book, but you've also launched things about, how to grow your Instagram account or like all these different products, you're not known for that one thing. So people are going to think like, okay, well, why would I buy your course? Or your audience might not be people who want to write a book because you've been selling all these different things. So you have this very scattered audience. We want you to be known for one thing. It's going to make you the go-to person at what you do. It's amazing. It's like the most wonderful thing ever once you get known for something. The next thing you need to have, number 4, is you need to have a signature process or framework that you follow to get people results. Now, in my high ticket coaching program, Yay for 100K, we like really hone in on this. We talk about it in Yay for Clients, but what I want you to know is when you get to the point where you're launching a program or a course, which is what I teach people inside of Yay for 100K, you have to have your signature framework, like it has to be rock solid. You need to be able to say like, I have a 7-step process and it's step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. And like, this is why it's like that. And this is why you have to follow each step. You can't just like teach people a bunch of random lessons and Be like, buy my course, because there's probably a bunch of people offering courses and there's no reason for them to think, oh, you are an expert at getting me the result. When you have a signature process, it makes it so much more tangible and so much more obvious. Like, oh, this person is pro. They have a process that they've developed over time. Pros have processes, okay? The fifth thing you need to have in order to have a successful course or digital product is a proven and reliable launch strategy. Launching a signature program or launching a digital product requires a serious launch strategy. So you have to have that audience, right? Like at least 500 people, but you also have to know like, okay, we need to do like a webinar. And then a week before that webinar, we invite people. There's all this tech to set up. There's all this positioning. There's all these marketing materials. There's all this copy you have to write, these emails you have to send, these pages you have to set up. The learning curve on that is so much higher. You do not need that in order to start a business doing services. You don't have to have anything set up to do that. You could literally get 3 clients this week for a new business, no problem, with no website or anything. You cannot do that with an online program. So essentially, you're just going to need more people in your audience, and they're going to have to be really nurtured, and they're going to have to know, like, and trust you, and you're going to have a really bang on strategy in order to enroll people in a course. And then there's the whole like course creation process and hosting that and delivering that and all of that. It is a huge undertaking. So that's why mistake number 1 is launching digital products too soon. Because if you get wrapped up in that stuff, it's distracting you from actually making the real money. The second mistake number 2, is creating too many offers. Like I said, I am a creator. I'm a multi-passionate. I am a level 10 quick start on the Kolbe Index. If you know anything about the Kolbe Index, that's crazy. I am literally the highest you can be, meaning like I love to start new things. It is my favorite thing to do. I was actually recently diagnosed with ADHD. So when I tell you that I understand the desire to not be bored and make new things, I understand it more than anyone you can possibly imagine. So I want you to really take what I have to say to heart, because I'm not the person who's just like never gets bored or anything like that. There is a common misconception that your audience gets bored by hearing you talk about the same offer over and over again, and that your marketing becomes less effective. It could not be more the opposite, my friends. That's simply not true. Number 1, nobody is paying that much attention to you. Like, I learned this in high school. You know, in high school, everyone starts to become like really self-conscious, and like girls start like wearing more makeup and caring about how they look, and like, oh my God, boys, and oh my God, popularity and all that stuff. And I can't really speak for the boys, but like, I know that that's something that starts to happen, or it started to happen for me. I had this realization really early in high school that everyone was obsessing over themselves and worrying about how everyone else saw them. And no one was actually that worried about anyone else. And I was like, well, wait a second. We're all just freaking out about what other people think, and nobody else is really thinking about us. So that doesn't make any sense. The same thing is true online. Nobody cares that you've been talking about the same thing for 3 years. In fact, if anything, it makes you look more pro. It makes it more likely that they get what you do, that they're like, okay, after following this person for 3 years, I'm finally ready to hire them. When you start like zipping around and creating new things all the time, people can't trust you. They can't trust that you're going to be there the next week offering that thing. Why are you the expert? Why should I hire you? You're not known for this thing. So we need to make sure that we're not worried about repeating ourselves all the time. You're the only one noticing that you're repeating yourself a lot. And I just want you to know that the most successful entrepreneurs, they repeat the same message for years and years and years, adding up to literally decades. So think about Oprah. How many times has Oprah repeated some of the same slogans, some of her same, her like go-to kind of phrases or her mottos and things like that? We need to hear that message again and again and again. And every time we hear it, we're not like, oh, Oprah, shut up, stop saying the same thing. We're like, oh yeah, I need to remember that, right? Another example of this, not my favorite brand on earth, but a great example of the repetitiveness of a method, Dave Ramsey and his, I forget the name of it, but his like 5 baby steps for like getting out of debt. He's been talking about those same baby steps for like his entire career. And that's what makes it effective, is it's always go back to the framework, go back to the framework, go back to the framework. Another example I share inside of EA for clients around this is think about, one of my favorite makeover shows was What Not to Wear. and you think about it, in What Not to Wear, every single episode follows the exact same framework, okay? They always would ambush the person, and then they would present them with the opportunity to come with them to New York for a $5,000 Visa gift card. They would come to New York. They would do that day where they put on things from their closet, and then Stacy and Clinton would throw away their entire wardrobe, and then they would go out shopping by themselves for one day, and they would fail miserably at that, and they would be upset, and then Stacy and Clinton would come in the next day and pick them back up and show them how it's done and teach them, and then they would get their hair done and their makeup done, and then they would have their final thing, right? It was the same formula every single time. That's not to say every single person on that show was exactly the same, but the framework worked every single time. The overall formula, the details of each person, of their haircut, of their style, of what their particular style sort of difficulties were, fashion faux pas were, all of the details were different, but the overall framework was the same. And the same thing is going to work for your business. I don't care how different you think your clients are. If your clients are actually so different that there is no framework, you haven't niched down, okay? So that's just an even bigger problem. So in sum, on mistake number 2, it is incredibly inefficient to create new offers all the time. Trust me, I did it. I've seen people do it. This is my passion. This is my message that I'm screaming from the mountaintops for years and years and years, waiting for you to hear me. Instead, you want to make one proven offer and make it better and better and better. And specifically, you want to start with a signature service. You want to focus all of your marketing energy on this one thing. And that's when you're going to see your business start to grow, and you're going to get that consistent income coming in every month and be like, oh my God, I'm actually this is how I'm making money, and I'm actually paying my bills from this, and it's becoming more dependable and reliable and predictable. That's what's going to start to give you the freedom. I promise you, just please trust me on this. Okay, let's get into mistake number 3. Mistake number 3 is not getting known for one thing. This kind of is just summing up everything we've already been talking about. There is so much noise in the online business space. Now, I don't believe in competition. I think competition is a healthy thing. I think it means, wow, there's a need out there. I don't really look at the competition, could not care less. I see people worrying about the competition sometimes, and I'm like, what a waste of your time. Quite honestly, waste of your time. But I do believe in noise, and it is very noisy out there. There's so many social media platforms. There's so many accounts. It can really overstimulate our senses. Now, this is why packaging yourself in a general sense, or trying to do 2 different things, like I teach art and yoga or something like that, is not going to work. It's just going to make it harder for you to get known for anything. So I'm like, well, why don't you teach yoga art? You know what I mean? We don't want to do 2 different things. Let's combine them together. And I talk about that more. We can talk about that more in niching and what niching actually is. But right now, let's talk about just the fact of not getting known for one thing. Being a general health coach, or being a general life coach, or a general business coach, or general relationship coach just isn't going to cut it anymore. People their eyes are going to glaze over. You don't stand out. And when you start labeling yourself, I'm a business coach, I'm a life coach, I'm a health coach, you literally are just putting yourself in a category with a bunch of other people. I couldn't care less about industries and categories and things like that. What I want to know is, what is the problem you solve, and for who, right? Now, the problem you solve is probably in the realm of health or life or business or relationships, but I don't want you to call yourself that. In fact, you need to call yourself anything. What I want to know is, what is the problem you solve? And I want you to get known for solving that problem. Many of you listening need to just perk up your ears right now, because you are being way too effing vague with your work. This is a Courtney Smackdown. People need to land on your Instagram profile or your website or whatever and immediately know if you're a good fit for them. They need to go, oh, this person gets me. Okay? I teach this method, sometimes called the referability test or referability filter. And I want to kind of give you guys a chance to test yourselves on this right now. Are you ready? Because you might not like the results, but that's okay. At least then we know we got to refine it. There's no problem with that. Most people, by the way, are not going to pass this test. So you're in good company. So what I want to know is, if you were to tell someone what you do, would they know instantly if they have a friend to refer to you? Service-based businesses live and die based on referrals. That is the lifeblood of service-based businesses. Most successful service-based businesses don't actually need to do very much marketing. It's not where clients come from. Marketing, again, is more for when you launch your program and all of that. You got to build up that audience and everything. Services come from relationships. So when someone says, oh, I need to hire someone who could help me organize my kitchen, or, oh, I could really use some help like planning my day, or, oh, wow, I'm just kind of looking around like I really need help like planning my garden for the summer, or helping me create a new workout routine, or, growing my Instagram account, whatever it is, are you going to be top of mind because that's what you do? That's the question. I know what it's like to be afraid to go all in on that one thing. And that whole I don't want to put all my eggs in one basket metaphor comes to mind, right? But it's just nonsense. I really want you to drop that whole, I don't want to put my eggs in one basket. That is holding so many people back because they believe in that nonsense. Even in the world of stock investments, if you think about, I was like, what's one area of life where people are obsessed with diversifying, right? And it's definitely in the stock market. If you've learned anything about the stock market, one of the first things people tell you is diversify your investments. But I've actually done, and I'm no stock genius, okay? But I've actually done some advanced investment trainings, and people who are actually experts at this stuff, people who actually do really well in the stock market, they don't believe in diversifying at all. They actually believe in being an expert at the thing you're doing and then going in on that thing. So I don't believe that diversification is the secret. We want to make sure that we're focused, that we're laser focused, that we're all in on that thing that we're doing. And if that thing's not working, we need to tweak it. We need to figure out why isn't it working? What do we need to tweak about our messaging? What do we need to do about this? The answer is not doing a bunch of different things half-ass. We want to do one thing full ass. Okay. I understand that you're scared. What if that, nobody buys this offer? Is it going to ruin my business? I'm not going to have any money. I'm going to have to get a job at Starbucks. By the way, they have great benefits apparently, so maybe that's not a problem. I say go get the job at Starbucks and don't quit until we've figured out the offer that's working for you. The answer is not what I call choking your business, offering a bunch of different services, being a generalist, all of that. That's not the answer. The answer is taking time to create the right offer in the first place. We're going to create that signature service that people are craving to pay you for. We don't even have to convince them. When you find the right person, they're just ready to go. Okay. So let's talk about these 3 stages of business that I promised you. You're going to see how this all fits into context now that we talked about the mistakes. The first stage of business is what I call the freelancing stage. Okay. So just write down freelancing. The second stage of business is what I call your signature service stage, okay? And then the third stage of business is your signature program stage. That's where you're actually going to launch a program that's more scalable, where it's not you working one-on-one with individual clients. After that, let's say you pass all those stages. I mean, let's not get ahead of ourselves. We'll get there eventually. But after that, that's when you actually would go back and you kind of go back to services, but doing it in a high ticket way. So that's when you would actually create a high ticket group program. We're not there yet. We're not going to talk about that anytime soon. But first we need to focus on these 3 stages. So it's super important that you're clear on what stage you're at right now. Stage number 1, freelancing. The freelancing stage is defined by the fact that at this stage, you're offering an array of different services, but it's not normally that you just have different services. It's normally that a potential client will come to you, tell you what they want, and then you'll write a proposal just for that client. So you're basically reacting to the opportunities that come to you or cross your path. Maybe you're pitching yourself for something versus you having that one core signature service. The markers of the freelancing stage are writing custom proposals and reacting to opportunities versus deciding what you do and then attracting clients to you. That's going to make more sense the farther we go into this. So I just want to lay the groundwork here. I want to be really clear. There is nothing wrong with the freelancing stage. Almost everyone goes through this stage. I went through this stage. I had to figure out what do I even like doing? I had to develop skills. It really helps you with not only figuring out what you are great at and what you love to do, but also what do people even want to buy? It gives you a really good assessment of the marketplace. And it also makes you start to get comfortable with actually charging money for your work. That is a huge obstacle for so many new business owners or freelancers to overcome is I'm not getting this job where I get hired and then I get trained and all of that. I'm actually like inventing my work and someone's paying me for it. That is a huge mental obstacle. So even just getting experience charging for what you do is a massive win in the freelancing stage. That's really the goal of the freelancing stage, is to start making some money. Now, there is no amount of time that you need to stay in the freelancing stage. The way you know that it's time to move on from the freelancing stage, that you've gotten everything you need to get out of this stage, is A, you're clear on more or less the type of work you like to do and want to do. And B, you're ready to become a business owner. You've just decided, I don't want to be a freelancer anymore. I want to be a business owner. And that's it. You could be a freelancer for 2 months. You could be a freelancer for 20 years. It's just a matter of when are you deciding that. So some people think they have to like stay as a freelancer for like 2 years or something. Not necessarily. That's just wasting your time. Don't punish yourself by staying at this stage for too long, because that can really start to become a trap. So I'm going to challenge you to move on to the next stage if that's where you're at right now. You don't need to spend any more time freelancing, as long as you're clear on what type of work you like to do, more generally speaking, not the specific niche, but the general area, and you're just ready to move on to the next stage. That's it. Stage number 2, signature service. So this is what we do after we're freelancers. So in my program, Yay for Clients, we teach you, this is literally the goal of the program, is to stop being a freelancer and start becoming a business owner by launching your signature service. Creating a signature service gets you out of that reactiveness of going after clients, and instead has you really methodically and strategically package an irresistible signature service that people already want to buy. So we're not just creating any kind of service. It's not just like, oh, I love doing this, I'm going to create a service around it. We have to do it in a really specific way so that we know that when we create the service, we're literally already going to have clients lined up. That's the whole idea. Creating a signature service means that you're able to rinse and repeat the same offer. You're able to create systems around it. You're now creating that pro levelness of like having like your signature framework and process. And it's when you launch a signature service that you become a business owner, in my humble opinion. I know it can be scary to make this leap, but it's absolutely necessary if you ever want to get to that level of launching an online program. The signature service is that next step. It's how we're like honing in on our process and what we do and practicing it on people and getting clients results, getting better at what we do, etc. Get those testimonials. Now, a signature service is defined by 3 things. It's one signature offer, meaning one package. It solves one problem that your target clients are craving to have solved, and you say no to people who don't fit into it. That last one's kind of important. By creating a signature service, you're going to be working with much better clients. Like, you can say goodbye to those pain in the ass clients. I promise you, it's a result of being a freelancer and not being really clear on who you want to work with. You're going to make more money because you're going to be more efficient with your time. You're going to look more pro, and you're also going to be able to raise your prices literally instantly when you create a signature service, just because of packaging and positioning, i.e. marketing. That's the magic of marketing. You're also going to be able to work less and make more money per hour that you're working, because having these systems in place is going to start to create predictable results for you. And it makes it able so that you can go in and do the work that you are a genius at, because you are a genius at, and not be like constantly like, oh, what's in this client's package? And oh, I didn't need to do this draft. And not like everything's different and it's so messy. So it's just going to be way more streamlined for you. So you get to go in and do the thing that you do best and trust the systems to help with everything else. Now, a signature service is what you need to be offering right now if you are not yet making at least $50,000 a year. We've got to be creating a signature service, all right? Now, $50,000. Why? I talked about that in a previous episode, so we can talk about like the math behind that and all of that in that episode. The reason I say 50K is not because everyone needs to make exactly 50K. I know it's relative to you and your situation, but generally speaking, that's the average salary in North America. And it just has this symbolic weight to it. And I think it's really important that you're making enough money to be making a full-time income before you move on to launching your signature program, which is our next stage. So let's briefly talk about this. And again, I'm going to go in depth on each of these stages based on those quiz results in the next 3 episodes. So make sure to go take that quiz over at CourtneyChaal.com. Again, Courtney, CourtneyChaal.com. Click on quiz in the navigation bar and you'll start to see what phase you're at. it'll hopefully like really resonate with you. Most people are like, oh my God, this is so me. So the final stage of business is going from signature service to signature program. Once you've created your signature service and you've streamlined it so that it's easy for you to deliver and it's magnetizing clients on autopilot, then you can turn your signature service into a signature program. Yes, you're taking your signature service and you're literally turning it into a program. This is what we do inside of Yay for 100K. So now you can kind of see how like what I do in my business and the offers that I have line up with these 3 stages. And that's why these 3 stages are so important. So when you launch your signature program, this is really key. Are you guys listening? When you launch your signature program, it's not like, oh, I'm launching a program, I'm no longer offering services. No, big red X on that. Okay, this is a huge misconception that people have about launching a program, that magically you just start making all this money from a program and you never have to do one-on-one work ever again. We have to depend on that one-on-one service for our full-time income right now. So what we're doing in this stage is we're slowly building up our program to add money onto our revenue. And if we want to slowly do less and less clients or retire our services, we can, but it's not this like one day we're offering services and the next day we're offering a program. And that's where I feel like people get really stuck and they start doing that ping-ponging back and forth like I did when I was like, oh, I want to launch a course. And then I was like, oh, I didn't make enough money. Now I get clients. Oh, I want to launch a course. It was just this stress going back and forth. I was not intentional about it at that phase at all. The first time you launch your signature program, it's usually not the world's biggest launch. There's a massive learning curve, a lot of tech, a lot of strategy. We need to make sure you're doing it correctly. And I want you to have a big launch the first time you launch your course, but it's okay if you don't. And that's what I want to make really clear. The other thing I want to make really clear is that you're not just creating a course that you feel like creating. It's not like, oh, I'm a copywriter and I feel like creating a course about finances. No, we're creating a program based on your signature service. You do not want to have 2 different markets. It's basically like having 2 different businesses. We want this because we want to have these 2 offers in our business. It allows us to streamline our marketing so much. And what you'll find is that when you have a signature service and a signature course, is they actually like promote each other. It's really cool. So here's an example of how I did that. So my first course was called the Total Knockout Copywriting Course, and it was based on my website copywriting service that was called the Total Knockout. So I basically took my signature framework for my Total Knockout Copywriting service and turned it into a Total Knockout Copywriting course. All right. So some people want to hire one-on-one. They hired the one-on-one. Other people, they don't have the budget for that. They more want to DIY or they want to learn the skill. They do the program. All right. But it's based on the same framework. It's the same goal, all of that. It's the same cloud and gold. If you listen to episode 1 about the rainbow of sales, it's the same goal for these things. Now, having a course helped me to book more clients. See, this is cool because it elevated my brand and it started to position me as more of an expert. No matter how successful the course was, having a course, just like having a book, positions you as more of an expert. The next example I have for you is when I was doing sales page copy. So after I did the Total Knockout stuff, I actually then got really niched, which I really recommend you do so you don't have to do it twice like I did. But I was offering a service called Sales Page CPR, and I created a product or program based on Sales Page CPR called the Sales Page Kit. Here's what's really cool. I was able to cross-sell the Sales Page Kit and Sales Page CPR because people who weren't a good fit for Sales Page CPR, I would sell them the Sales Page Kit. And people who got Sales Page CPR, I would give the Sales Page Kit. So I was able to create this wonderful value proposition by having a program version of my services. Again, program version of your services, not separate program that's totally different from your services. Okay, so that's what I really wanted to go over with you guys today. I know this was like a bit of a juicier, meatier episode, but it's just a really important foundation that I want you to have. So number 1, make sure that you're not making those 3 mistakes of launching digital programs or products too soon before you're making a full-time income and have a signature service. Make sure you're not just creating a bunch of random offers because you're being reactive and are like, oh, I need to make some money, I'm creating an offer. Don't do that. And then mistake number 3 is make sure that you're getting known for one thing. Okay. So make sure you're not becoming a Jack or a Jane of all trades, that you're actually really honing in on niching down and getting known for one thing. We can do an episode in the future all about niching. What we're going to do in the next 3 episodes is we're going to have an episode geared to each of the service-based superheroes based on our quiz. So go ahead and go on over to CourtneyChaal.com, click on the quiz in the navigation bar, take the quiz, share your results with us so that we can see what you are, and then listen to the episode. I would actually listen to all of them because it's really good to have context because you're going to go through all the stages, but listen to the episode about the level that you're at so that we can talk more in depth about some tips, things that you need to be doing at that level, mistakes people are making at that level, etc. So thank you so much for listening to this episode. I am looking forward to seeing your guys' quiz results, and I will chat with you in the next one. Yay! Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. If you love today's content and are ready to finally start making a full-time income from your business this year, make sure to get on the wait list for my program, Yay for Clients, over at yayforclients.com, and you'll be notified the next time enrollment is open. Or if you're already booked with clients and you want to learn how you can turn your signature service into a signature program and add 100K of revenue to your bottom line, come apply to my group coaching program, Yay for 100K, over at CourtneyChaal.com/apply. Thanks again and have an awesome day.